Hello again, Tom here from Wheeler Automotive. Today, with a heavy heart, I'm showing you around my 2001 Land Rover Discovery 2, affectionately named Dorothy. This has been my tow car probably about 8 or 9 months. And in that time, I've done an awful lot. I've spent thousands on her. And I've used her to go and pick up cars that I've bought to sell with my trailer. But it transpires that I need to have a tachograph fitted to my tow vehicle. And Dorothy's just not the right car to do it. She's just a bit too old, so I'm going to have to get something a bit newer that I'm going to commit to for the next sort of 4 or 5 years, which is the only reason she's up for sale. I absolutely love this car. I've been all over the country in her. She's never let me down. Probably the most reliable Land Rover product I've ever owned. She's done just over 186,000 miles, or just under 187. I'll show you that when we get in. But I've done a significant amount of mechanical upgrades to the car, which I'll try and list and remember all of them now. I'm bound to forget a few. But under the bonnet, I had the injector loom changed. That's a common fault on these. Oil comes down in the loom and soaks the ECU plug with oil. So I had all that done. I've had a hybrid turbo fitted to it by Falcon Turbos. That was about 600 quid. I had a AirTech front mount intercooler put in, which is 3 times the size of the original intercooler, which was to complement the turbo. We then did silicone hoses throughout under the bonnet, so that's all the boost pipes and the coolant pipes are now silicone. I had it remapped by Alive Tuning. Sent the ECU off to them, which absolutely transformed the way she drove. That was after I'd done all of the other engine mods to her. I think that's pretty much everything under the bonnet. Obviously I had the snorkel fitted and the light guards I put on not too long ago. All the tyres aren't very old. I had it polybushed throughout, so all of the bushes were changed for polyurethane ones. I had new shocks and springs fitted, standard height. I didn't want to lift it because I was mainly using it on the road. In fact, I've not taken her off-road. I wanted to keep the ride height the same. When you lift these things, although they're great off-road and they look cool, they don't drive that well, if I'm honest. So I kept that standard height, but they were expensive. The shocks and dampers were about 500 quid. And the polyurethane kit was a couple of hundred quid. I put brand new drilled and grooved discs and pads on all round, because this thing really flies, and the brakes weren't fantastic, so we completely overhauled all the brakes, and I put a pretty much straight through stainless exhaust on. It does have a small back box, which is great because it still sounds good, but it doesn't drone or shout at you when you're doing 70-80 miles an hour on the motorway. So that's pretty much it. Spent, it's got to be 5 or 6 grand on it, which I'm not going to get back, I appreciate. But my plan was to keep Dorothy for many years to come, but the fact that I've got to put a tacho on my tow vehicle means it's just not practical to put it on Dorothy. So that's the only reason she's up for sale. So let's go around it. There's a bit of glue around this headlight washer. I don't think the headlight washers work. I don't know of Disco 2 where they do, to be fair. But that was like it when I got it. The bumper's in pretty good order, as is the grille. The light guards have been on there for a month or so. But yeah, all of the front end I'd say is in really good shape. There's a bit of lacquer peel on the bonnet here. And obviously the badge is missing. It was like that when I got it, and I thought it looked quite good without it, so I've just left it the same. There is a tiny chip in the windscreen here, which I did repair myself. I don't think it will turn into a crack. But yeah, the whole front end is actually in pretty good order. The bonnet doesn't have any dents in it. I love this Monte Carlo blue metallic paint. It's part of the reason why I really bought the car initially. The other big reason I bought the car and invested all that money into it was because the Achilles heel of these cars is the chassis, particularly the back half of the chassis. They rot out and it just kills them. But this one has had, about 3 or 4 years ago, a half chassis put in it on the rear end. So it's totally solid underneath. All of the chassis is totally solid. No rot in it anywhere underneath. Come along, have a look underneath it. You'll appreciate how solid this car is. Let's get back to the bodywork. So there's a couple of little marks on this offside front wing. The arches, these are plastic and they've started to fade a little bit. All of them have, to be fair. You can get replacements fairly cheaply, but it didn't really bother me. I did actually buy these wheels. It didn't have these wheels on it when I bought it. It had a different style, but I love these 5-spec sort of star-shaped ones, so I went out and got a set of these. Same time as I got these tyres fitted, these General Grabber 83s, which are superb on and off-road. Not that I've been off-road, but I know from experience that they are. You can see in there, if it all focuses, you can see those discs and the pads have done. All of the work that I've done to it was about 3,000 miles ago. So all of the stuff I've listed off already is just bedded in. It goes like an absolute steam train. It really does. So all the brakes are new. I don't really need to show you the rear. I mean, I can do, because they're new as well. If you can just peek in there, you see it's not great light, but yeah, the discs are pretty much new. Driver's door has a few marks on it, a few little scratches here and there, as does this offside rear door. Again, we've got a bit of fading to these wheel arches. You can get the extended ones, because what I also did was I put 5mm 50mm spacers on it, just to bring the wheels out to the edge of the arches, because they sit on standard ones, they sit right in, and I didn't like it. So obviously you can change that pretty easily. I did also fit new wheel bolts all the way around, because a few of the old ones had swollen. There is a bit of a dent here, so when I got it, this was all sort of pushed in, where it obviously, I think it looked like it had reversed into a, like jackknifed a trailer reversing it, and this had pushed into it. So I got this bit of trim off of a parts discovery I've got over there, that red one. I fitted this on. It's not fitted on particularly well, but and I hammered this out as best I could, and it looks a lot better than it did. But she's an old girl with a lot of miles, so I didn't want to go too crazy on the bodywork. The offside rear quarter is pretty good. There's a little scratch there, nothing serious. I put the rear light guards on as well, both on the upper and the lower lights. All the lights work correctly. I put this drop plate on as well. The little Lego head tow ball cover will go with her. I do actually have a better spare tyre to go on as well, because this one's cracked and knackered, so I have another one of the general grabber tyres to go on, so I'll put that on. But yeah, the rear end's in good order, all the glass is nice and clear. The boot's pretty grubby. I need to unlock it. So it's got this sort of, this was on it when I got it. This isn't obviously the normal door card. Got this like wipe clean one on, and the boot's pretty grubby. I've never really scrubbed the boot. I put these floor mats in, and the headlining's a bit grimy. But it was a farm truck before I got it, so I've scrubbed the inside the front and the back seats, but that was where I stopped because she's been a work vehicle really, and I didn't want to go too crazy. There are these couple of dents on this near side rear quarter. They're in a bit of a difficult position to get sorted out, and they've never really bothered me enough to do anything about them. The rest of this side though is pretty straight. There's a dent in this door where it's either gone into something or something's gone into it. This rear quarter's good, all the glass is good. It does have the roof bars up there, and it has the twin sunroofs. Another nice wheel. These tyres have got so much life in them, it's crazy. Near side front door's good. There's a couple of little car park door things on it. And then finally, round to the near side front wing, which is mainly covered by the snorkel I had put on, which is all hooked up correctly. You know, I probably wouldn't take it through a river, but it is all hooked up properly. And we've got another lovely alloy. You can see the chassis is all in really good shape, just some surface corrosion all the way back. Really, really solid. So outside and mechanically, I would say it's about as good as a 2001 Disco 2 gets, to be fair. Now I did give the interior a good old scrubbing when I got it. It was pretty grim. The seats are all in pretty good shape. This one's got a little burn in it. That's about it though really. There's a tear in the bolster of the driver's seat and some foams come out, which I'll show you when we go around there. But the dash is all really nice and tidy. This rattles a bit when it's ticking over. I did put new leather gaiters around the gear levers here, and this is a bit loose, but all works right. Rear door card's pretty good. Got a few marks and stains on the rear seats, but no rips or tears in the rear seats at all. I got these heavy duty mats to go everywhere. All in pretty good order. Driver's door pretty tidy. That's the tear in the seat. Bit of foam's come out. Pretty standard fare on a car that's done as many miles as Dorothy has. Let's get in and we'll fire her up. So it always starts first turn of the key. The TD5 engine I absolutely love. It's one of my all-time favourite engines, and this one's no exception. Starts, stops and drives incredibly well for its age and mileage, thanks to all the stuff we've done to it really. I did put in this Pioneer head unit as well. It's a little microphone there. It does connect to your phone. You can make and receive calls via it. It will stream music via Bluetooth. It has DAB. It does have the dual zone climate control with the aircon. It does blow ice cold. Have a cup holder in there, and we've got a bit of storage under the armrest there. The other thing I don't think I mentioned is one of the first things I did to the car was have a new clutch put in it, and I had a Loff power spec clutch put in with the flywheel as well, which was another 600 odd quid, because it was struggled to go in and out of first gear and reverse gear, which we figured out was the clutch. So we did that first. I think that was the first thing I did to her. Yeah, the TD5 runs incredibly well. Even though I've only probably done about 5,000 miles in it, I've already done 2 oil and filter changes. I did one when we put the turbo on as well. You do get a bit of sounds really cool. Hear the whistle from the turbo, from the exhaust. It doesn't smoke too heavily. Sometimes when you map these, they can be really smoky, but I didn't go for one of those silly popcorn maps or really smoky ones. But yeah, I'll be awfully sad to see it go. My 2001 Discovery 2.